This tutorial we're going to cover purchasing, and that would be through this button right here on the main form. And purchasing is where you can go to order products that need to be ordered. And just to the right of this button you'll see a couple of lines that says 157 suggested parts to order. And then the next line is 6 parts to be reordered. Okay, let's cover the suggested parts first. Where this is coming from is, let's say when you're in a sales order, I've already got one up here, and you're adding a part, let's say this Yale closer. And you can see it says there are only 5 of these in stock, nothing on order for stock, and nothing as far as purchase orders for this job. So if I put in a quantity of 5 or less, let's just say 4, and I tab out of that, or if I click out of that field, that quantity field, or hit the tab key on my computer, on my keyboard to move out of that field, you can see nothing really changes, nothing happens. However, if I put more than what's available, let's say I'll put 10, and if you watch this box here, it says suggest ordering. If I click out of that box or hit the tab key on my keyboard, you can see it automatically checks that box for me. That's because the quantity needed to fulfill this order is not available. So what it's going to do is when I click Save Part, it's going to add this part number, vendor, manufacturer, and this job name to the purchasing table in your database. And that is where these quantities are coming from. So of course, this is my test database. It really probably shouldn't be that high because I don't keep it updated. So that's where it's all coming from. Now, if for some reason, let's say I was going to put 4 in here. Let's go ahead and check that. And it doesn't check that box, but I can see I'm going to use up what I have in stock. I can go ahead and check this box manually, and it will still go ahead and add that part to the purchasing database. That way you can make sure your material gets ordered as it should, so you have plenty of them to fulfill your sales orders. Okay, so that's where that's coming from. Now the 6 parts to be reordered, that is coming from, we have turned on, it's always been there, it's never really been turned on though. If you go under Add Edit Products, and when you pull up a part here, there's a field right here, Reorder Quantity. So you can type in whatever quantity you want, and that'll be the minimum quantity that you want to keep in stock. And this is stock inventory items that you normally keep in stock. When it gets to that minimum or below, then you'll see this message right here. So in the Add Edit Products, you can set this quantity to anything you want for any product that you pull up. Now another way to do it, where you can do it's probably a little bit easier instead of opening up one at a time, is to go to the inventory control. And let's go ahead and pull up Yale. And there's a column right here, Reorder Quantity. So I can go down here and I can set the minimum quantity for all of these items that I would normally keep in stock. And one way you can do this, if you're going to have, let's say, if you want 10 of everything, a minimum, what I can do is I can enter 10 in the first item, and then I'll take my mouse, highlight it, and do Control-C on my keyboard to copy it. And then what I can do is just take my mouse and drag it, or whatever I want to do, and then do Control-V on my keyboard, and that'll paste that quantity in there. Another option is instead of holding the, another thing is instead of using the mouse, you can click the first one and then hold the Shift key down on your keyboard and click the last one, and it'll do the same thing. It'll highlight everything in between. Another thing you can do is, instead of the shift key on your keyboard, I can click the first one, hold the control key down on the keyboard, and just manually I can go down the list and select whichever ones I want, and then do control V, and it'll copy that into the highlighted cells. So that this can save you a lot of time, and to get the quantities in there a lot quicker. And of course you can limit these by category to make this list a little bit smaller to work with. And you'll typically only do that with inventory parts. Anything that's non-inventory or a service or an assembly, you do not have to worry about it, because this is only for inventory parts that you would normally put on your shelf and stock to sell at a later time. And then once you have all your quantities in there, just click Save Inventory, and it'll update your database to those quantities. So that's another way you can do it, just to get it done a little bit quicker. All right, so getting back to purchasing. So now that we understand, now if you have any questions on either one of these two, just give us a call or email, and we'll be more than happy to help you out. All right, so what we're going to do is open up purchasing. And when the purchasing form opens, you have an area up here where you can edit a product. This is the whole area. And I'll show you that in just a second. And this area here is where you're going to enter the ship to information. If you want it to ship, when you send it to a purchase order, if you want it to ship directly to a job, go ahead and select a job name. Or if you want it to come to your place of business, to go into your warehouse and you'll be shipping it out, just check here. It'll copy your company name and address in here. Now over here you've got two radio buttons. One is Get Suggested Order Parts, and the other one is Get Stock Reorder Parts. And those are the two items I just showed you over here. So to get the suggested order parts first, you can narrow it down by vendor. These are all the vendors of those 157 items that are currently being used right now. So you have to go through the whole list of vendors to find the one you're looking for. So every one of these vendors will have products in that purchasing database. So if you want to, let's say, select Curry's, now you can click Get Parts. And you can see these are all the Curry's parts that are in the database. Looks like that's the majority of the items. It says there's 98 products found. And they're ordered by the job name and then the part number. Actually, if you were to do all of these, it would be ordered by manufacturer name. So now we have Algoma. So all the manufacturers are in alphabetical order. And then it would be by job name for that manufacturer, and then product ID, or product name. So let's just take it back to Curry's. So you have a couple of options here. What you can do is do select all, and that'll select every single item. And I can click, I have an option here to send to an existing PO number. If you have a PO you want these to go on that's already been generated, or you leave it blank, it'll create a brand new purchase order. And then I can click send a PO, and it'll send all these items that are checked to a purchase order. So just go through your list to make sure you do want everything sent to a purchase order. The other option is, let's go ahead and uncheck this, is you can select by job name. So I can just select a job name out of the list, and then click this button here, select all by job. And if I scroll down, you can see only that job name was selected. Now, if you need to edit one of these line items, and I'll show you why I might want to edit these. So we've got 4 of them that are highlighted. Let's scroll over here, because one thing I did notice was the multiplier is different. So a couple of the items are 0.25 and the other ones are 0.30. So typically that each job name will be using the same discount. This would be a discount you would have gotten from the vendor for this particular project. So what I can do is I can edit these items. So we'll start with this one here. I'll just double click it. And when it opens up here, now I can change that discount to, it's probably special. And I'll put 0.25 in here to match the other ones. And when I click out of that, you'll see the total cost will change. So you can see it was reduced because we're getting a better discount. Now I can click Update Item. And let's see if we'll probably have to reselect these again. So I'll just select my job. Now there should be 3 of them that have the updated discount. There we go, right there. So there's one more that would have to be updated. And because this is the pricing that you want to be sent to the purchase order, so that when Currys gets it, they'll know that they gave us special pricing on these items, and that's the discount we should be using. Okay, that should take care of it for suggested order parts. Now, when I do add these to a purchase order, these 4 lines would be removed, so they'll no longer show up in this list. And once you get all your parts added to a purchase order, then your purchasing table should be empty. And then the next time you come in here for this is not updated in real time. This will show the same thing from the time you log in to the time you log out, and then come back later and reopen it. That's when you'll get the new quantities. Now, when you open up the purchasing table, if there have been any changes, it will reflect those changes. Maybe somebody else has updated the purchase orders or the purchasing table. So just keep that in mind. These quantities can change in the background. All right, so that's suggested order parts. The other one would be to get stock reorder parts. And if I check this box, you can see one thing that happened is I can no longer select a job, because these are stock items, meaning they will only go into your database as stock, and that's how they're going to be ordered rather. Every one of them will be an inventory part and not non-inventory, because under the previous one, like this one here is still in the grid, those should be all non-inventory parts. We're not showing that column, or service, one or the other. I think there might even be bundling in here. Maybe not. Yeah, right there. So these are actually service parts, but they can be sent to the purchase order because Currys does have a charge for bundling, for putting their frames together, if that's what you're going to do. If you're just ordering the components and there's not going to be any bundling, then just don't even check those boxes. You can uncheck them. And then once you create your purchase order, if you wanted, you could come back in and check each one of these. Now I'm just going to hit the arrow key on my keyboard and then hit the space bar, and that'll automatically check that. So I can go down here pretty quick. So once I've got them all checked, I can click this button here, delete selected items, and it'll remove these items from the purchasing table, so they will no longer show up. So again, if you don't want these to be sent to the purchase order, That's how you can remove them and clear up your purchasing table. Okay, so getting back to get stock reorder parts, let's go ahead and click that button. I think it said there was only 6 parts, yeah. So we should only have 6 items. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and that's exactly what we have. Now, another thing you'll notice is I cannot edit any one of these lines. If I were to double click this, I'm going to get a message. You cannot edit reorder products here. Go to add edit products to make any changes. That's because these are not being updated in the purchasing table. These are actually in your products table. So if there's something that's not right by one of these items, then you'll need to go to the add edit products and open up that item there and make your changes there. And that would be right here, add edit products. Make your changes, save it, and then come back and then reload this, and your changes will be loaded here. So again, if something doesn't look right, maybe the standard discount is not correct or whatever it is. Now keep in mind, again, this is your inventory. It's not for a specific job. So usually it's just going to be your standard discount. Now if Currys gives you a special discount on inventory that you order, then you can create that. That's all in other tutorials on how to create new discounts. Create a special discount that you can select all the time. And that way you don't have to go in and change it each time you have something pulled up. And then you can also update all your products for Currys to use that special discount all the time. Okay, again, we're going to do the same thing. Since this is all Currys, in fact, if I click the drop down, that's the only manufacturer or only vendor that's in the list right now. So that's all I can do. You can only create a purchase order for each vendor, one at a time. It will not create purchase orders for all the different vendors just by clicking this button. So keep that in mind. So again, typically you'll probably go ahead and select all. Now, one thing you will need to do is enter the quantity that you're going to need. For each one of these items. So you can see for a couple of the items, we already have some on order. So there's 20 now. If you need more than 20 in stock, go ahead and add whatever the quantity you need. For this item here, there's nothing. So if you normally stock 40 of these, go ahead and enter 40. Get down the list. This one, there's currently 15 on order for stock. Now these are stock, not quantities that are on order for other jobs. So this is stock only. So once you get all your quantities entered, check the ones that you want to send to the purchase order. And again, if you want to send it to an existing purchase order that's already been created, just enter that PO number here or leave it blank and then click send a PO, and it'll create a brand new purchase order. And the purchase order will open up once you're done, and you can go ahead and just check it, make sure it all looks good, make any additional changes if necessary. And that should pretty well cover working with the product ordering or purchasing. So if you have any questions or concerns about this, please give us a call or email, and we'll be more than happy to help you out. Thanks.